Making a video on a creepypasta is a bit strange, I know. I haven't given off the impression to my audience that I've really been interested in doing so up until now. Mainly why I wanted to do so is because I personally archived the story years ago. It was on the Fandom Creepypasta Wiki, and as a then active Henry Stickmin speedrunner, I hadn't heard of any Henry Stickmin creepypastas up to that point. With that, I archived it, knowing it would be deleted, and did ultimately end up saving it. However, I still don't recall who originally wrote it, with the page itself not helping on the matter. I should also add that the version I'm reading and ultimately uploaded is the edited version. Likely due to the original being written by a young writer or as a troll, the original was a giant single paragraph. The current version has the same spelling errors, but reformatted to be more legible. So with that preamble out of the way, here's the story as is. So one day I was playing the Henry Stickmin Collection. I decided to go the Toppat Civil Warfare route because it was the only one I hadn't do. It started up as normal, except there was no music. Ellie snitched on the top icon as usual, but then I had to choose what to do. The only option I could choose was Chainsaw because any of the other options wouldn't register my click. But when I chose Chainsaw, instead of Henry using Looney Tune logic and have the plank fall under him, instead what happened was a whole lot brutal. Henry had instead ran back into the airship like a maniac, slicing everyone there into a hyper-realistic mess. There were hyper-realistic organs flying everywhere, and hyper-realistic screaming as well. Almost as if it was coming from the other room, and he kept going and going until Ellie was the only one left. Ellie then said with a slightly worried face, "How could you, you brutal monster? He is coming now! Hide!"
Me don't think I should have just bought the game on Steam. It's for sticking to do watching.
When then Ellie tried to shoot Henry, just for the bullet to reflect off of him like a meteor from Terraria. Then a hole gets shot through Ellie's head with hyper-realistic blood now gushing out of her head. She lays flat on the floor. But then Right-Hand Man and Reginald come back up. Henry quickly notices this and Reginald gets chopped, but when it goes to Right-Hand Man, of course as expected. Right-Hand Man then quickly flies away, to never be seen again. Henry then says to me in a demonic way,
"You better watch out."
I then turn off the game, run upstairs to my room, and hide under the blankets. Then I hear rockets come close to my house. Then I look outside the window like an idiot, and see realistic Right-Hand Man outside. He then quickly flies into my bedroom, and picks me up and says,
I know you didn't mean this to happen. Don't worry, I'll fix this.
He then takes a metal box with a small peeking hole at the bottom. He then pushes me into and locks it. He then says,
Don't worry, you're going to be alright.
Dead chainsaw sounds. I hear a hyper laser being fired, but then a reflecting sound, and then another reflecting sound, and then screaming as if someone was being vaporized. Right-Hand Man then says,
I get him. You're safe now. Come out.
but he sounded a little too
American!
I refuse to open the box. I can't anyways. It's locked from the inside. Then I look at the peeping hole, and it's that damn mute stick man who can't even use a teleporter correctly. He tries to break open the box, only for the box to suddenly grow a "I'm a laser" face. Then the box fires his laser, and the loudest sound ever plays, and the screams of Henry being vaporized. And then I wake up in a hospital bed. It turns out I was passed out in front of the computer with the Toppat Civil Warfare option set up on the computer. I had a massive burn on the back of my head, and a slight cut on my back. I am now a normal dude writing the story to tell you. Never use the chainsaw option. Or just lock your doors. And maybe some guy won't break into your house, put water from an instant ramen onto your head, and then scratch your back so hard to the point that you have a small cut on your back. TLDR, I had a cool dream. It's obvious why the original version was deleted in 2022 pretty quickly. Ignoring the fact that the original was just a giant block of text, to modern readers it's not the most notable story in the world. Nonetheless, the premise of Henry Stickmin alternative story generally does have a lot of potential to go into. What about exploring some hidden, unknown alternative routes? What if the other options did actually work and change the route's meaning? What would happen if Ellie Rose did show up in other Ghost Inmate routes? And that's fine, not every story has to be cinema, it just has to get emotion across. Sometimes it might take a bad story here and there, but to who wrote the original, I wish you well out there. Take care, until we meet again.